This is the Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor and the afternoon Qso-Vlog program. If you have a radio you want to check out the audio, give us a shout. We are recording KC9VKV.
And 3SGW.
There's something at GW. Come back with the call sign again, please.
November 3, Sierra Golf Whiskey.
Roger, Roger. What's the name there?
The name is Keith, Kilo Echo India Tango Hotel, and I'm located in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Keith, well, listen, I'm checking out some SDRs up in Pennsylvania. Let me switch over and see what we got. Stand by. How about it, Keith? You got a copy? How about it, Keith? Got a copy? No, did not hear you on the SDR, so here we are. What radio are you running, sir?
I'm running an ICOM IC7300, and I'm just running a Ultramax 100, which is a 24-foot piece of wire into a 9-to-1 on a vertical pole.
Roger, Roger. What mic are you running, sir?
Oh, it's stock. Is it too high?
No. What, stock what? Is the hand mic?
Yeah, it's a stock hand mic.
Roger, Roger. And what kind of EQ are you running on it?
I had somebody help me set it up the other day. I'm just running 5 compression and 35% on the mic gain, and nothing else.
Roger. Okay, now you have to work that hand mic to the side of your mouth. You want to work that hand mic across, you want to speak across the mic as opposed to directly into it, because that mic is subject to plosives and transients, and the only way you can use it very nicely is to the side and across it. Roger?
Yeah, you know what? I keep forgetting that, James. You're absolutely right. Is this any better?
Oh, yes, sir, it is. Yes, sir. I would suggest maybe just a tad more top end, maybe a couple of clicks on the high side on EQ if you got it there.
Yeah, no, not really. I'd have to go into and set it up. I really haven't done too much as far as changing the audio.
Roger that. Well, usually that stock hand mic, it does beautifully. It has a nice top end. For some reason that one doesn't sound quite as bright as they normally do, and that's why I was suggesting maybe a little bit of top end EQ. But when you get the chance and the desire, maybe you might check that out, Roger.
All right, is that too much on the top? I put it up like 3 more.
No, that's fine. That really adds a lot of articulation to your audio definition. Like in a marginal situation, the first thing that goes is being able to perceive what the words are. You can hear the words, but you can't quite understand them. And that added top end really helps to clarify in marginal situations and just in general.
Yeah, okay. I forgot that I could go into the software-defined radio, go in and set the menu and actually change that. And I found it rather quickly, so I am learning about the radio. I've had it for almost a year. I still don't know all the settings.
Oh, Roger that. Well, 7300 can be intimidating. It is a multifaceted radio, and it can be intimidating. So, the thing is just to, find out more about it on a weekly basis, and, and no rush. And you're an excellent example. Like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, would you feel comfortable doing what you just did?
Yeah, copy that. James, what kind of signal am I putting out your direction?
All right, now I can't run my S meter because I'm running reduced RF in the front end of the radio, but I can give you I'm looking at your audio output on a VU meter, and I've got your VU meter adjustment at 0 level for the peaks of your voice, and then when you're not speaking, the meter falls down and begins to read my residual noise level. So you are giving me 10 dB above my residual noise level, Roger.
All right, copy that. Yep, I understand. And yeah, your audio is nice and clear, and you're definitely staying right up. I know band conditions aren't real good right now, but you're definitely keeping up with the 9 on the S meter, and definitely sound good.
Roger, and you likewise, like I say, consistent 10 over my noise level. And in a lot of ways, my 10 over my residual noise level is like a typical S meter 10 over. I mean, it really is very similar because your signal is very good. But I am endorsing kickers today. I mean, if, if you're going to be heard on a daily basis, rain or shine, you're probably going to need about 300 watts or thereabouts to really get down the road. And it's unfortunate that it has come to that, but with the 40 meters on a daily basis being not that conducive to transmissions in the 500-mile range, I definitely would suggest a little more in the closet, Roger.
Most definitely. I found that to be very true, James. I am presently, and I really do appreciate your help with setting up the audio better. I really do, because I don't really listen to it myself, so I really don't know how it sounds like, so I appreciate you helping me with that. And I am running 50 watts out of the icon into an old but new SB200, all 100% rebuilt. And so I'm running probably around 400 PEP. So, and it does help. Without it, the signal wouldn't be nearly as good, especially when the conditions are bad like today. KEITH-N3SGW.
Roger. And, the thing is also that you want to be sure and run your ALC at mid-scale to a 2/3. Some folks back down in their audio and think that they can just back down in their audio to drive their amp at a lesser wattage. But it's a lot smarter to drive your ALC at 50 at mid-scale to a 2/3 and then back down on your RF output. Keep your ALC running normally, and still running about a 3 on the compressor, about a third of the capabilities of the compressor, and then adjust back down on the RF output of the radio to get your box running correctly. Roger.
Yeah, I did some testing, and I found that out that the amplifier wasn't being driven hardly at all when I didn't have, I had the compression down low. It actually wasn't driving the amp, and the ALC having it where it is, which is about right around a 10 to 15. It seems to, it seems to work well. The compression to 10 to 15. It seems to work real well, and the ALC is about half scale, and it seems to work good like this. And the amp, you can see it's definitely being driven like it should be instead of the way it was before, where I ended up running more watts to try and get any kind of power out of the amp, which don't really need to do. I never run this amp with more than 50 watts, pretty much ever.
Roger that. Well, the ALC is looking at the output of the limiter. Not the compressor, but it's looking at the output of the limiter. And when you start pushing that ALC up to mid-scale, you're getting an additional about, it interpolates to a 3 dB dynamic range modulation. Between mid-scale on the ALC and about a third of the compressor running, you'll wind up with about a 3 dB dynamic range, and that's a fat signal. Roger.
Roger that. Yes, when I bought this radio, my first radio, didn't have all of these features at all, and it wasn't nearly as complicated.
Oh, Roger, yes, 7300, like I say, can be intimidating, but you've got a lifetime to learn, and so I would just suggest, on a weekly basis, trying to learn a new facet about that radio. The main thing is that you go through and you make sure that you're in the highest width. You want to be as wide as you can, out to 2100 to 2900. And you have to be careful that you check all of the possibilities of changing that, because just one of those change to another width will modify the radio. So be sure that all conditions are 100 to 2900. Roger.
Oh, copy that. Is that on the TBW? You're talking about like the bandwidth?
Roger that.
Yeah, because I found that I had it set for medium or narrow because I was told it was better for DX. When in fact, that wasn't the case, and it didn't work very well. And the amp also wasn't being driven because of that, and having it as wide as possible seems to be the best setting.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Anytime you start losing top end by restricting the bandpass, you're sacrificing intelligibility. There's a lot of folks that just want to, restrict that to a minimum when they're DXing, and that's so foolish because when you start pulling down the top end, you're pulling down the intelligibility, and in a dogfight, you need everything going for you you can, so why would you sacrifice the ability for somebody to hear you?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think on digital mode, the bandwidth, having it narrow might make a difference. But when on sideband, definitely SSB definitely need to have the on wide for it to work properly. I definitely, that's true. I did learn that. And James, very nice to get this information from you. I really appreciate talking to you today. I'm glad I got to meet up with you.
Roger, Keith. Well, let me say 3 is that away, sir, and you're coming along. Hopefully you'll be able to check in next week, same time, same place, and we'll see what's going on. Compare notes, Roger.
All right, James, and thank you once again, and I'll make it a point to do that. Can I catch you on this band, on this frequency?
Usually we're on 7189, but we're trying to avoid a little blow-by 1 click up, Roger.
I'll copy that. Yeah, okay. All right, well, once again, I appreciate it, and I'm going to I got some stuff I got to do. So, 73, and great to meet your acquaintance, and Happy New Year to you, sir, and have a great day.
Roger. Likewise, Keith. 3's to you, sir, and have a good afternoon. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, and the Qso-Vlog program. If you've got a radio or you want to check the audio, we are recording between now and 5 Eastern, and we'll get you on not tape, but but digital, and then upload to YouTube, and then you'll be able to check yourself and hear your audio. And while you're there, you could check. It's an hour and a half. Program, so there's other folks in there. You could maybe check and see how your audio stacks up against their audio. All kinds of things. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor.